Okay, we are live.
On MTV, we are.
So this is part 14 in our 15-part series on questions that no Christian can answer. We received these questions from the Non Sequitur YouTube channel. The Mentionables are answering these questions that no Christian can answer. Here's today's question.
Often, creationists will characterize the Big Bang as something magically created from nothing. But then you have creationists who literally believe a supernatural being created the entire universe. Literally something magically from nothing. My question to you is why is the first one irrational but the second one logical?
Alright, so the first thing is the cosmological argument states that for something to begin to exist, it must have a cause. So there must be some kind of uncaused cause. That is to say that something exists either necessarily or exists contingently upon something else. So the statement is that God is the uncaused cause, meaning that he's eternal, he exists outside of time and space, and he is the cause for time and space, which is not a problem if God exists necessarily, meaning that he's not contingent upon anything else. Now, one could make the argument that, well, why can't the universe itself exist necessarily? That would be fine, except that we know that the universe began to exist. There was a point of origin beyond which there was no universe. Then the universe began to exist at some point. And we can find that out because we see the background radiation from the Big Bang, because we can trace the expansion of the universe back to a single point. So based on its rate of expansion, we can reverse that and discover that there was a time at which it began to expand from a point. Logically, we can, he's asking about what makes one logical and not the other. Well, logically, we can't have a past eternal universe. Time and space, anything that moves sequentially in time, you can't have an infinitely past sequence of events. That's just not logically possible. However, in order for something to exist eternally, it must exist timelessly. So the idea is that you have a timeless, spaceless, all-powerful cause of time and space. And this resolves a problem that you have if you don't have that timeless, spaceless cause. How did the universe come about on its own? How did it pull itself up by its bootstraps? There was nothing, and then there was something. The Christian version of that is that there was God, and then God caused something to come about. So there's a lot more logical sense in a God-caused universe than an uncaused universe.
Okay, so this question badly conflates all of Christianity with one particular flavor of young earth creationism, which denies Big Bang cosmology. Yet, as pointed out in this video, Big Bang cosmology and Christianity can actually go hand in hand, as they both point to time, space, and matter having a beginning.
This was an interesting question because it kind of pits two ideas against each other. I think there's some equivocation going on. I think there's just some, it's a loaded question. There's too much vague. It's like, okay, strip away the actual, kind of way it's being asked and get to the question really underneath the question, right? Because it's saying, hey, creationists will say that the Big Bang was just magically poof, it came out of nowhere and, got created. And then atheists will say, oh, well, creationists, you believe that God just poof, magically did it. Okay, well, here's the difference. Okay, the reason that creationists, and I'm using that broadly, whether it's young earth creationists, old earth creationists, theistic evolutionists, deists, right, whoever, people who think that God created. The reason that creationists will say the Big Bang is just, magic, because what caused it? Right? The whole point of magic is just poof, it just got done. Okay, in the Big Bang, in a naturalistic, atheistic view of the world, the Big Bang is the universe coming into existence. From what? From nothing. It came into existence. What caused it? There was nothing there to cause it. A naturalistic view says nature is all there is. And so if the Big Bang is where nature started, what lit the fuse? There's nothing there. Whatever lit the fuse had to be outside of nature, beyond nature, supernatural. And so that's why creationists will say, you believe in magic. Where did it come from? At least on creation, we have a cause. Right? So even if we believe the Big Bang, well, something had to start it. What lit the fuse? What banged the bang? Right? It's not magic to say that God did it. Well, how did God do it? I don't know. Refer back to that question. It's already been asked. But how did God do it? This is not something that should cause anyone any kind of problems. Right? Oh, well, God just magically did it. Yeah, okay, fine. Magic, if you're comfortable with that word. Whatever processes he used were supernatural processes. I don't know what they were. They weren't part of nature. He made the Big Bang. Boom. Where? How? I don't know. It doesn't matter. But the difference, the key difference in this situation that we need to understand is that these aren't comparable. Oh, well, you're claiming this is magic. We claim that's magic. They're both magic. No, they're not both magic. The real claim is on creation, there is a cause for the universe to start. On atheistic, naturalistic, Big Bang models, there's nothing. It just happens from nothing for no reason. And when I say nothing, I don't mean a quantum vacuum. It means nothing. Where'd it come from? I don't know. Well, okay, fine. If you're comfortable with I don't know. But I actually have evidence to say I do know it was a creator. God did it. That's not a God of the gaps. We have reason and evidence. But that's a different question. The point here is that it's not the same thing whenever someone who believes in a creator says that Big Bang is just magic. Right? The two are not comparable. That's the point. The two are not comparable. Atheistic, naturalistic Big Bang has no cause. Creation has a cause. Which one's rational? Nothing created something or something created everything?
Okay, so this is a weird one for me from the godless engineer because I'm not a typical creationist and because I don't object to the Big Bang in that way. In fact, I've never heard of anyone that objects to the Big Bang that way. I think he may be thinking of, what he may be thinking of is when Christians like William Lane Craig have ridiculed that the Big Bang, given naturalism, would be worse than magic because you don't have even the magician or the hat to which to pull out the cosmic rabbit. But that kind of something from nothing would never be acceptable as an explanation on pretty much any other scientific question. So why the atheist would endorse it there? So it's not that creationists object to the Big Bang proper, but that they object to what the Big Bang would be if atheistic naturalism were true. So I think he misunderstands what the objection is. On the other side, if God exists, then it's categorically different. You now have an agent to act and bring about the cosmos. So while the first was nothing, by nothing, from nothing, out of nothing, the second is by God, out of his omnipotent power and decree. It's not really the same thing as the atheistic understanding of the Big Bang. We would have a causal agent as an actual explanation, whereas on atheism, you don't have that. It's just inexplicable. So that would be the difference between the two.